it possible to make big money full time? The answer is, it depends on you. One of the things that I've noted over the last 3 years is there is almost a reluctance to even say that you can make a living picking or doing garage sales. It's almost, yeah, that's nice, but I'm just going to relegate it to part-time activity. I'm just going to put a little money in it. I'm just going to put a little time in it. You're going to get out of this business what you put in. I know several people who make a full-time living from picking garage sales, estate sales, storage auctions, essentially the resale world. But none of those people treat it as a part-time endeavor. That is the thing that I see. Matter of fact, that was the advice that I received when I went to my 6th or 7th storage auction, and there was this guy like, hey, he had a bad week, he had lost a lot of money. He said, hey, don't do this stuff full time. You can't make a living. You can't make a living. And I just pretty much ignored him. And that's the thing. I'm looking at many people who are really, really caught up in the treasure aspect, the big hit aspect, I'm going to make a whole bunch of money for little to no investment and get rich aspect. Now, the thing is, those potential jackpots can and do happen, but usually they happen to the people who are doing it full time. Very simple reason. The more reps that you have, the more practice that you engage in, the better off you're going to be in your chosen endeavor. If you're out there 5 days a week, picking, going through barns, going through stuff, talking to people, networking, doing whatever, you are going to be more successful than someone who just does that on a Saturday. I know it sounds like common sense. It kind of sounds like something that most people would know, but I tend to look at all the chatter over the internet, and there's so many folks who are despondent if they go out to storage auctions for 1 month and they don't really see anything great, or they don't really get a chance to get the unit they like. 1 freaking month. Now, I want you to go through the inventory of your mind and think about all the stuff that you're good at. All the things that you have skills in, things that people go, wow, you're really good at X, Y, and Z. Now ask yourself, did you spend 1 month learning that skill? Chances are, no, you didn't. Some of these things, it took you a lifetime to become good at, or several months, or a lot of practice. Hint, did you get the hint? I think part of my job here is to bitch snap people back to reality, because I didn't know of the potential treasure jackpots that, that waited on me when I got in the storage auction again. Seriously, I just thought, as simple as I was back then, that I would be able to go out, get stuff cheap, and understand there was the business plan was to do a garage sale every week, because it was like, if we can do $1,300, $1,500, $1,600 every weekend, that's 7 G's a month. That's 92 grand a year. Nope, I'm sorry, math's off. That's 84,000. I jumped way too far ahead. That's 84 G's a year. Cash money. If you keep the expense level at 10%, that's a hell of a business. That's where my mind was. I wasn't looking to find gold and rubies and stuff. And understand, there were whispers on the storage auction trail about that stuff. But in my mind, it's like, most of America's poor. You're just not going to find this stuff in every storage unit. This was how I was thinking. I thought, if I can get this regular stuff at a great price and resell it cheap, I could make money. That was the plan. There was no, I'm going to get this one unit, I'm going to spend $1 and I'm going to make $62,000. That wasn't part of it. That was just like, wow. There was no, I'm going to get this little trashy unit and get all these original Barbie dolls. But since that wasn't my plan was to go out, let's get as much cheap stuff as possible to resell. That was the core of the plan, and that's what I moved on. Many of you, your plan is, I'm going to do this till I get me a big lick and I'm out. It is delusional as hell. So essentially, back to what I was talking about. Can you make a full-time living doing this? Yes, you can. Can you make great money? Yes, you can. Are you going to work your ass off? Yes, you are. And that's where we're going to run into a lot of friction and trouble. That working your ass off part. Remember when I said the things that you are good at, things that you know how to do really, really well? You didn't learn that shit in a month. Why do you expect to go into something as diverse, as large, as crazy, as with such a huge learning curve as the resale business and expect to be super, super successful so quick that it'll make your head spin? It took me months to get a handle on this. And, initially the first 2 years were kind of quasi part-time, almost full-time. I mean, it was more than, it was no 5 hours, 6 hours a week. It was way more than that. And the more units that I bought, the better I got at the business. And I just noticed that when I would take leaps of faith, like that first time I bought 10 units in a week, whoo, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I thought I was crazy. But I learned a lot, and I never went back to just trying to buy 1 unit at a time. Because buying those 10 units, one of the things I learned was there was 1 unit out of those 10 that paid for the other 9. Completely paid for the other 9 on the cost basis and yielded a nice profit all by itself. So what did that mean? Those other 9 units were free. Do you get how that works? They were free. So I was able to drastically slash prices, blow that stuff out because it was free. Now, I just gave you a real serious tip in there that many folks are going to miss because they're never going to have the courage to buy that many units in a week. 1, because they don't work on the infrastructure. 2, it's too much like hard work. It is so much like hard work. Oh. Give me some easy stuff to do, Glendon. I don't want to work this hard. I just don't want to work that hard. What you're saying is you don't want to make the money. Because until you develop the skill sets, the knowledge base, you don't really fucking deserve the money. See, that's the thing. Until you put in the work, you really don't deserve the money. You shouldn't be making a lot of money. It shouldn't be happening. That's the natural order of things. In this business, it is, to me, the rawest form of competition. It's like if either you're going to do well in this business or you're not, based on you and your wits. I mean, people with money have more of an advantage. I've seen people that had way more money than I did that came in the game and were pushed out of the game, and I was still there buying. Because the thing is, money's great. Money is a tool. But knowledge and the application of that knowledge are far more important than money. You've seen that time and time again in this internet age we live in. Knowledge, application of knowledge with a strong work ethic can make you rich in this country. But that's kind of the deal. There's so much stuff about, hey, I'm seeing crazy stuff like people are getting units and I've addressed selling stuff back to people, and because I saw this one article where this guy was like really kind of perplexed on giving the stuff back, and he was kind of tugging on his heartstrings, and I was just like, dude, you ain't gonna never make it in this business. You're gonna see stuff that will literally make you cry if you're a really sensitive person, because a storage unit is pretty much that person's whole life laid bare for you just to rifle through it at will. And if you are super, super sentimental, and I haven't said this in a long time because I just thought that was going to be one of the big issues with whether these reality shows were going to be good, whether my YouTube channel was going to be good, because there's a high sentimental value to a lot of stuff that you will come across in storage auctions. units. And essentially with the success of Storage Wars, the success of Auction Hunters, the success of that other show, and people don't give a damn. People do not give a damn. It's like, oh well, you lost your stuff. Hey, I'm sorry for you, but hey, I'm gonna take that gold ring and go sell it and buy my baby some new shoes. And that's the reality of it. So that sentimental thing was not as strong as I thought it was gonna be. And essentially, you have to have a killer instinct in this business because, like I said, you're going to see stuff, you're going to be tested, you're going to be challenged. And usually, if you get a great unit and there's some, hey, we want some things back, we want to buy certain things back, my advice to you is first, before you even have that phone conversation, is you assess the unit. Fair market value. I've done it several times. I've had people, I want X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, look, I could sell that for this. If you want this stuff back, that's the price you must pay me, because I'm not taking a loss trying to be a good guy. I'm not going to be a prince. I'm not going to be a hero. I'm not that guy standing on top of a mountain with a cape blowing in the breeze. I'm not that dude. And believe it or not, a lot of those people ponied up the money for certain things. They really wanted it, and I will say, the people who were highly irresponsible were the worst ones to deal with. They had a sense of entitlement. They felt that you owed them something when really you didn't owe them anything. And the people who had really fell on some hard times or medical issues, unemployment, accidents, something just really bad, were the most humble, kind, decent people. And there was a few of those. Like if you look at my video about the voodoo guy who bought his unit back, dude was a little strange, but he was pretty decent. Pretty decent. And you can kind of pick this stuff up. But once again, that goes back to what I said about getting your reps. You're not going to learn this stuff if you don't engage and play. And that's the thing that I see. A lot of people, I think in my humble opinion, is they watch the shows and they watch this channel and they read stuff, but they haven't made that decision to commit to being successful. It's kind of like, I'm not really sure. It's kind of like when you're dating a person, but you like them, but there's just something in them that you just can't go all the way with. You my baby. You just can't do it. You can't put a finger on it. You don't know why, but you're like, you just can't do it. Then you meet somebody you barely know, like, bam, that's the shit for me. Yeah, I'm all in. Yeah, this is my baby. It's kind of crazy, but that's kind of the deal. Until you make that full mental commitment, you're not really going to be successful. You're not going to do well, and you pretty much are going to frustrate yourself in this space because, like I said, there's a huge learning curve to this business. It's huge. It's going to take you years. I'm here to tell you, it's going to take you years to learn some stuff. As much as I know about antiques, records, gold, guns, there is enough information that I don't know to fill up a freaking library. I mean, I'll watch the shows and, I ain't ashamed to admit it. I'll watch the shows, I'll see some stuff. I never got that. I'm like, what the hell is that? Because I was looking at the other night, the new shows of Storage Wars, and when they pulled out the naval equipment, I knew what the sections were, and I knew that was the engine transmitter, but I see a lot of stuff. I'm like, what the hell is that? Because I never got it. And essentially, for my storage auction career, the bulk of my money was made on ordinary, regular, everyday stuff. Because if I had to do it in percentages, 70% of the stuff that I got out of storage units were regular, mundane, regular stuff. Okay? Ordinary stuff. Then move up to 20% went from above average to super nice. That was around 20%. Then 10% was freaking extraordinary. Just like, oh my God, this is crazy. Who would have lost this? And those were the ratios for me. Your ratios may differ. One of the ratios for the regular run-of-the-mill stuff is I bought a lot of garbage units. Even as I climbed up the food chain in the storage auction world, I never stopped buying garbage units because I made a ton of money off garbage units. Let me give you a quick little story. I had just spent $2,200 for this 10 by 20 that was packed from the ruler to the tutor. Super nice stuff, super nice stuff. But because I had to pay so much, pay attention to this, I knew that I was probably going to elk out maybe $1,000 to $1,500 profit because they were on me. But see, leverage. I had other units, I had other things in process, so it wasn't just that one unit that was going to be working. And bought this unit, and the last unit of the day was a 5x5, just trash bags, Georgia suitcases, just clothing and everything. And I was like, I bet $5 on it, and they looked at me like I was crazy because the trash bags were all kind of, there was some stuff on it. It wasn't dust. I think it was rice. Actually, it was rice. And everybody just looked at me like, okay, you spent all that on that nice unit, and you buying this crap. They just people walked away shaking their head. I understand. When I did get into that nice unit, when everything was sold, did about $1,700 in profit. So it wasn't a loser by any stretch of the imagination, but I didn't double my money. I spent $2,200 on it. I didn't double my money. I made $1,700 profit above and beyond cost. Now back to the little crappy unit. And get in there. It was some homeless person, right? Homeless person, bunch of trash, moldy jeans, shoes with mold. I mean, everything had fur on it. It was horrible. It was terrible. It cost me $5 freaking dollars. Dude had $820 worth of scrap gold in there. So I spent $2,205. I made $1,700 on the unit that I spent $2,200 on. I made $900 because there was other things to sell in there. On the unit I spent $5 for. $5. That is the reason that I always bought trash units, because they pulled me up from the crap, from overpaying. Because this is the thing, I overpaid for units. Sometimes you're going to have to, or you're not going to get a unit. You're just not going to get a unit. It's not going to happen. So that balanced out very nicely. I had to come back, cleaned out that unit. Same day I cleaned out the 10 by 20, and look at the results. That $5 unit really saved the day, because of that $5 unit, I was able to clearly and easily double my original investment. That's one of the things I learned early on. This is why when I tell you need to buy a lot of units, you need to be engaged, you need to really, really focus on this type of business. That's what can happen, because I've had a lot of $5, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $100 units that yielded anywhere from $900 to $2,000. Does it happen all the time? No. Does it happen every day? No. Did it happen to me every week? Yep. Every week I had that type of action. But I bought a lot of units. I keep saying this, and I keep saying this, but people keep going back to, I got this unit. Let me go through it, trash, throwing stuff in the hallway. Look at this. I've never seen anything like this. I need to go get it checked out. Let that shit go. Let that shit go, man. I'm just like, it doesn't even bother me anymore, because I just crack up when I watch it. And also something else that I haven't touched on. I have never been to an auction where it was slow enough for me to break away from the main group, go back to the unit that I bought. And a lot of places will not let you do that, because it's very easy for you to grab some value and dip. So that ain't gonna happen. So I've never been in an auction that will move that slow where I can go back, check my stuff, because you could potentially miss a great unit doing that very easily, especially if they're rolling. So that right there just is fantasy right there. Total fantasy. Now, if you're gonna do this after you paid and after the auction, hell yeah. But during the auction, if you've watched the shows and you were one of those people that bought a unit and you're sitting there going through your unit and thinking that they're gonna wait on you, you ain't gonna make it. You just ain't gonna make it. But that's just some food for thought today, that if you want to make full-time money in this resale business, you need full-time effort. You really need to crank it up. You really need to make, most importantly, before you even go out there, you need to make a decision. You really need to make a decision. You need to make a commitment, because that commitment will carry you through the highs and lows of this business. Because there will be highs and lows. There will be crazy stuff. There'll be crazy people. You're going to get flack from the storage facilities. You're going to get flack from and you're going to get flack from the people on the storage auction trail, because if you're successful, if you're buying a lot of units, you will create a huge amount of animosity to sheer hate, because they're watching you be successful every day while they're failing on their asses. Kind of hard to be happy for someone that's making you look bad. Let's just be real about it. That's just it. And that's your goal. That's where you want to get. You want to be that guy that everyone hates, because if everyone hates you, you're making a lot of money. All right, this is Glendon with Making Money with Storage Unit Auctions.